Hello and welcome to this World Environment Day special. Today we gather under a powerful theme with some powerful people, powerful thoughts. The theme today is Inspired by Nature, for Climate, for Youth. I have with me two forces, who play a very important role and need to unite together for a sustainable tomorrow. We have with us Mr. A.S. Hani, Chairman of Indian Oil, and Professor K.K. Pant, Director, IIT Roorkee. Can we please have a round of applause? Now, these two represent the bridge between industry and academia. But we also have our future with us, our youth, the ones who are going to take this forward. Our students here are here to engage, question, and imagine the future they want to live in. I think to begin with, Mr. Sani, I'd like to start with you to set the context. When we talk about sustainable future, sustainable India 2047, uh, what are your thoughts on that? How can we really build that together? And the role IOCL plays, whether it's green hydrogen, I mean, the amount what IOCL is doing, the role that will play.
Thank you for a very uh, relevant question, I'll say. Because today, when we are sitting here, we are already have witnessed one of the worst oil shocks or energy shocks that the world has seen. It has been played out in front of our eyes. And this again reinforces the need for countries like India to focus more and more on a sustainable forms of energy. With the kind of growth trajectory that India is seeing today, we are growing at anywhere between 6 to 7 to 8% quarter on quarter and year on year. And with this, the need of energy is also growing. Today, wherever we are at so X, within next 10 to 15 years, we will be needing 2x energy from that. That 2x energy, if we are going to depend on the conventional forms of energy which we have been doing up till now, the coal, the oil, gas, then it is going to be a very big dependence on imported energy. Although coal we have in ample quantity, but the other forms of energy we will be left dependent on so many other things. So it is this revolution, this transition. I perceive it as a godsend opportunity for economies like India. Because if we are able to grab this opportunity, we take the leadership in this form of sustainable energy, then we will become more and more energy independent. Then we will become more and more growth oriented. And our growth will be powered by sustainable indigenous energy and not on the imported energy.
Mr. Sani, you said it yourself, of course, the world is seeing tough times, right? We've seen what's happening. But again, IOCL has a huge responsibility when it comes to energy. The demand of energy is growing every day. How are you going to balance that, to make sure energy is given, as well as what IOCL is doing when it comes to climate action? And that's the reason we're here on World Environment Day.
Yeah, apart from being the fuel providers, the energy providers for the nation that we are, at the same time, we have the responsibility of improving the sustainability factor of the energy component. That is the most important. Today, we are working on various pathways on how we can change the course of energy as it is seen in India. Today, we are talking of compressed biogas that is coming from waste to wealth. That is a huge game changer. And we are a big votary of creating energy from waste. Then green hydrogen, again, because we have a very big advantage of having very low priced renewable energy. The solar, the wind, we are very blessed. India is very blessed
Yep,
with
ample of it.
ample of it. So this is what is going to give us the advantage. It is giving us the advantage of affordable green hydrogen, which nowhere in the world is as of now prevalent. Then we can have carbon capture technologies. Then we can have ethanol as a. We have ample quantities of ethanol available today. It's basically a problem of plenty
Plenty.
that we are facing right now. So these are the 4 5 areas wherein we can grow. This is indigenous. This is giving us technology benefit. This is giving us scales benefit. This is giving us benefits of the natural resources that are available with us. So this is, and all these 4 5 areas we are taking the lead. In as Indian Oil, we are taking the lead, And as Indian industries, we are taking the lead in the world right
A proud moment for all of us. I think, can we have a round of applause? Because like you said, you're taking the lead, but it is need of the hour. We have that in plenty. And thank you so much for sharing. But I'm going to come back to you on detail, right? On what exactly, so that our children can also hear what is happening. Professor Pant, I want to ask you when it comes to, I mean, it's a privilege to be here at IIT Roorkee, a 178-year-old campus where there's so many students, I mean, aspiring students waiting to be a part of it. But if you can tell us what IIT Roorkee is doing when it comes to climate change, climate action, sustainability, as a, what are they doing when it comes to the curriculum and as well as on the research perspective? Please share that with us.
So when you talk about all the sustainable development goals, right, 17 goals are there as per UNDP, and the basic needs of food, energy, and water, and making a balance, right, when you develop a technology or when you make a kind of a startup, venture
True.
capitalist, right, then you need to make the ecological balance and entire globe, because we always believe Vasudev Kutumbakam and one earth, one family, one solution. And we also, right, because our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji has given that motto or Nara, which you call that make in India and make for the world. So this is very important from the all engineering or manufacturing point of view.
Yes.
So from that point of view, we ask our undergrads, postgrads, or PhD students not to work either for the industrial oriented right research or the research which is connected with the community. So that is community outreach is very, very important. So we are connecting ourselves with the MSME, nearby MSME, industries like right, all the refineries, petrochemicals, manufacturing industries, so that the education real meaning, which is holistic development of the students, and they should work in the areas where we look forward, make in India, the product development, entrepreneurship, skill development. So this is where we are working.
So a lot is being done here. And I
Yes,
think
yes.
what you said, the most importantly, like giving back and children learning. The other thing I want to ask you, of course, the various initiatives which I'm going to keep asking you is one about planting over 400 million trees. I mean, that's not a less number. Also, along with that, I think what you all have been doing is develop the mangrove ecosystems.
Yes.
Tell us how important are those and the thought behind that, and especially when it comes to protecting not just biodiversity, but I think also the local communities.
Yeah, that has been a very noble cause and it has been very close to our heart at Indian Oil, especially the Sundarban mangrove forest, the redevelopment or development of trees there. And around 1.5 million trees we have planted in the Sundarban mangroves only. And that is reducing the erosion of soil. That is reducing the loss of land that was happening due to the waves and everything. So that is there. Plus, it is creating or maybe say enabling the habitat of the local animals which are there. The Royal Bengal tiger, obviously, it is the habitat of Royal Bengal habitat.
And a very critical, I mean, component Sundarban is I'd gone a couple of years back and I did the same story, seeing how the water was receding. I mean, the issues there, the challenges there. So it's really great to hear that y'all are working in that space.
Yes, we are very specifically working on mangrove plantation.
Yeah.
And elsewhere also, as you rightly said, 4 million. Well, while we are talking, it might change also because we keep on doing this
Increasing
exercise.
it.
Yes, we are increasing the size of the plantation as we move forward, and that is very near to, and that is in future what we are seeing, that when we are going to hit our net zero target. As Indian Oil, we have got our net zero target very firmly fixed. When India becomes 100, Indian Oil will be net zero. So in net zero, we have so many components which go into creating a net zero environment for a company like Indian Oil, which is primarily into hydrocarbons. And for it to become, or fit to target to become net zero is itself a very big task that we have taken upon ourselves. And when the hardest of hardest, the up to abate kind of carbon emissions, which we can't eliminate. At some point of time, we will have to see that after say 70%, 80%, 90%, we can't abate.
You can't do it.
So then you have to live with them. So if you have to live with them, you have to have these kind of solutions wherein you will have to have green areas.
Yup.
You have to have the green areas, green trees, which will compensate for the CO2 which you are emitting.
Yeah.
So they will be absorbing that CO2 and you will be emitting that CO2 which you can't abate at any cost. So these are going to be my sink
Yeah.
at that point
At
of
that
time.
point, which
At
is
that-
needed. And it's interesting, Mr. Sani, how you say that, it's a challenge and to accept it, right? Openly and say it is a challenge and to take it upon. I mean,
Yes.
really hats off to that. And we all know we're all doing this. That's why the whole thing is about collaboration. A lot of IOCL's initiatives really resonate with research happening here at IIT Roorkee. I'm sure some of them, even Professor Pant has said, whether it's the green hydrogen or the nature-based solutions. How do you think industry and academia can work hand in hand to actually accelerate climate innovation?
I'll again take you to with the energy perspective of environment. Today, when we are talking of green hydrogen, we at industry we can bring out tenders, we can procure the electrolyzers, we can procure the components, and we can establish green hydrogen. But at the same time, when we want to develop the whole ecosystem behind the equipment that we are buying, whether it is imported, whether it is made in India, whether the minerals or the metals that are being used in those components, whether they are imported or they are uh, established in India or created in India or manufactured in India, or do we have technology for making those components at scale and within cost? Whether our companies are going to be competitive in creating those components, because that is the only way in which we can truly become independent of the imported materials. Otherwise, I will be converting one kind of dependence to another kind of dependence. So, and this is the opportunity wherein the academia comes into picture, where industrial support comes into picture, where research, because we have a like as industrial research also, we have a huge R&D campus and a very big R&D setup that we are having. That also is working on collaboration with institutes like IIT Delhi, like IIT Roorkee, like so many other IIT Bombay. We are working with them. We have our own institutes also. We have got 2 or 3 institutes which are supported by Indian Oil fully, which are working in these subjects. So this whole setup has to work. I've given only one example of green hydrogen electrolysis. The same applies for other forms, other the biogas, the ethanol. Every component of it has a potential to improve in efficiency, to bring in operational excellence, to bring in design excellence, and to reduce its cost and make it more affordable and make it more sustainable.
It is important.
Which is the crucial part.
Most
We will win the game only when this teamwork works and when this research collaboration happens and this academia, the young
Yeah.
generation, the startups, they all come on board.
Hmm.
Then only we will be able to win this game.
I think another important aspect here are students here, the youth here who have their questions.
Hello, sir. My question is from Chairman IOCL. I want to ask, as you stated in the beginning, the country's energy demand is increasing day by day. I want to ask, what is the role of IOCL in introducing sustainability for this increasing demand?
These sustainable energy sources are not going to replace our present energy sources. They will always go on adding, because India has a huge growth in demand for energy. So that cannot be met by one source. It will be no, it will not be either this or that. It will be this plus that plus that plus some more. So that is the runway or pathway that I see for the future 10-15 years for Indian energy scenario.
Thank you, Mr. Sani, for explaining that well. Next, can we have Amisha Patel?
As a newly graduate, I'm looking for like a better opportunity in energy sectors, and youngsters today have like better ideas for that. So how does IUCL support such ideas and youngsters?
We have a well-established startup program which is working very well, and we have around 27 startups which we are supporting right now, and we had chosen them from around 90 or 100 which we started incubating, and then the successful one are the potential ones are around 27. So we are always open to ideas which are having the potential to be a startup. We want to invest in them, we want to sustain them, we want to incubate them, and we want to give opportunities to them. That is for sure. And that is not limited to sustainable area or non-sustainable area. If it is a good idea, marketable idea, you are most welcome, or any of you are most welcome to get in touch with us. That is one part of it. The other part is where you see the opportunities. The opportunities are immense in conventional energy sources also and in non-conventional energy sources also. If you are interested, and then the one point that we have not touched up till now is how we are going to use technology, how we are going to use AI into my processes, whether they are my existing processes, my refineries, my marketing, my pipelines.
Respected Chairman, sir, I was pretty much intrigued by your mention of green hydrogen. So, what is the company? How is the company innovating in the field of green hydrogen, and what are the different ground level implementation strategies that you are willing to adopt to support your net zero goals?
What we have done is we have gone to the market and taken whatever technology, best technology that is available in the market, and we have given them an opportunity to put up the largest plant in India with us. That was done with the purpose of creating a benchmark for prices. That was done with the purpose of creating an ecosystem around green hydrogen. How I can bring the green energy or the renewable energy to the hydrogen generation area at the lowest cost. These are the components on which now the research people are working, the Academia is working, we are working, my R&D is working, and other R&Ds across the country also are working on these components so that they come and become competitive to what my today's diesel engines or petrol engines are working in mobility. Has to be brought down by at least one half at what we are doing right now. Today it is being produced at around 260, 280 rupees per kg.
It's done.
If it comes to less than 200, you will see the inflection point.
My question is, what opportunities do exist for the students who wants to really work on the climate challenge problem?
When you say the climate change, right, there are plenty of the areas of research. Say it can be starting from the water management, because when you talk about rainwater harvesting, this is a simple example. Can we restore the water, right? Because huge amount of water it comes during flood, right, when heavy rains and all this happen. And if you look at the rural areas, these right areas are still depriving of the potable water. So can we have the rainwater harvesting converted into potable water? And you can just prepare a module based system, right? That will be itself be useful for the rural area. Second thing is that CO2 capture conversion, a lot of debates have come. Can you make a right suitable process or devices, sensors, right, where the efficiency of the process can be improved? Net energy rate, when we talk output to input, right, that's very, very important and promising. So all the time we have to look at that, how much I am investing and how much output I am getting. So all the processes should be routed through life cycle assessment. Even green hydrogen, what is the definition of green hydrogen is still not clear, right? Carbon dioxide per kg hydrogen,
Yeah.
then you call it green, but this is not a good number, right? Japan and other countries, they are using zero carbon dioxide. How can we reach that level? So indigenization is very, very important. For that, we have to identify depending upon the area, not to write too many areas. Focus on one area and look forward that can I get a startup from this? Can I develop a product from this? Can I connect to the industry? I think the job is done.
Sir, what message would you like to share with young innovators and students?
Message you would like to give the youth, or to the kids who want to become an engineer, Mr. Sani? How can they make their career in green energy, but keeping in mind for a sustainable future for their children, for their future generations, and a good way for climate solutions? I think a message in that perspective.
As we move on to mature, sustainable energy industry, we will need leaders, and the leaders will come from this generation only. They will be the younger generation, which will having 5 years, 10 years experience, with open mind, with research background, with AI background, with data sciences, with machine learning, and basic sciences. And we will be needing those leaders which will be coming from these kind of lots that are coming out of engineering college today. That is my message, that please prepare yourself for the outward future beyond what is probably taught in the college, beyond what you are given an opportunity to experiment in your labs.
Well, two strong leaders sitting here and, of course, giving their message, their ideas, their suggestions to the youth. And that's why this conversation on World Environment Day is important, that how everybody can work together towards, yes, Viksit Bharat 2047, towards net zero emissions. So much we're all working together to make it a cleaner, brighter, and healthier India for each one of us and our future generations. It's really been a pleasure to have you with us, Professor Pant. Thank you so much, Mr. Sani, for joining us today. And of course, thank you to our audience who's been so interactive. I think they've had their set of questions. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you all so much. Thank you.